Hey guys, today's video is a good old-fashioned favorites video. Normally I do faves and fails, but I actually don't have any fails this time, which is awesome. I have quite a mix of different types of things in my favorites this time. I have a bunch of makeup, of course, some skincare, a lifestyle item, and also a cat-related item. So, a quick reminder, I do use affiliate links down below in my description box. All the products will be listed. If you do decide to shop through those links, I'll earn a commission, which helps to support my channel, so thank you so much if you do. Let's just go ahead and get right in, starting with actually some sunscreens. I usually have at least one sunscreen related product in my favorites rotation, but this time I have two favorites. These will be no surprise to you if you saw my most recent sunscreen roundup. I ranked 12 different Korean sunscreens, and these are my top two. I've been wearing both of these, basically just alternating between the two on a daily basis. The one I'm wearing today is actually the Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun. This is such a popular sunscreen. I'm so glad I finally tried it. It is truly worth every bit of hype that it gets. It is a chemical sunscreen, but I find it super gentle on my skin. It doesn't irritate my skin or my eyes. I usually take sunscreen all the way under the eyes and even a little bit on the eyelids, and I get no eye irritation with this either. It's super lightweight, literally just feels like almost like a gel moisturizer. It sinks into my skin really quickly, and I think this is going to be one of my top most used sunscreens this summer because there's almost something a little bit cooling about it on my skin. Feels really refreshing to my skin, and it doesn't feel heavy at all. In the summertime, there's really nothing worse than like a thick, heavy sunscreen, and this is like the opposite of that. So this, I would say, is going to be my go-to, especially as we head into the warmer months. I've also, of course, been loving the Ionique Centella Calming Daily Sunscreen. This is also a chemical sunscreen. A little bit more hydrating, I would say, than the Beauty of Joseon. They're both hydrating, but the Unique one feels, I can't decide if it's pronounced Unique or Ionique, so I'm just probably going to alternate between those two pronunciations. But the Unique one I'm able to wear as both a moisturizer and a sunscreen. I'm able to skip moisturizer altogether when I use this one because it is just a little bit more hydrating and moisturizing to my skin. So really love that one. Also super gentle, really soothing because it does have Centella Asiatica in it, and it's also a really, really good value. So if you're looking for a good sunscreen for the summertime, I highly recommend both of these. Just one thing to keep in mind with these is that they are not water resistant. So if you're going to be swimming or sweating a lot, these would not be the best choice for that, but just for an everyday sunscreen, I think these are both fantastic, and they both have SPF 50. Those have been my two favorite sunscreens, and if you are a fan of K-Beauty sunscreens, I am actually going to be doing a part 2 to my K-Beauty sunscreen roundup later this summer. If you saw my roundup from a couple weeks ago, most of the sunscreens I tested were mineral sunscreens because I hadn't tested any chemical K-Beauty sunscreens prior, and I discovered that my skin actually can tolerate chemical sunscreens from K-Beauty brands, so I am going to be testing a bunch more chemical sunscreens now, including a bunch of ones that you guys recommended to me. So that video I have scheduled for like the end of July though, so it'll be a little while because I need some time to test everything out, but I'm really excited to hopefully discover some more chemical sunscreens that I like, because honestly, now that I have found that I can use K-Beauty chemical sunscreens, I'm kind of done with mineral sunscreens, not gonna lie. I'm kind of over mineral sunscreens altogether because they just don't compare. A complexion product that I have been really loving, I'm so glad I tried this. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I got this in the lightest shade, which is Fair 1. The shade is a bit dark for being the fairest shade, but for me, on my skin tone, I mean, you can see it does look a little bit deeper than my skin tone, but when I blend it out, I don't feel like it looks too dark on me because it is a pretty sheer product, but I have been loving this. The main way I use this is I mix it with my foundations. I've tried this, I think, with all of my foundations now, and it works beautifully with all of them. I like it with especially I haven't done this in a while, but for a few days there, I was wearing this combination almost nonstop. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It foundation. This is definitely the most matte and full coverage foundation in my collection. It is a great matte full coverage option if you are looking for that, and it even works well when my skin is dry. But this combo is beautiful. The e.l.f. Halo Glow just adds a little bit of luminosity. It really doesn't seem to dilute the coverage of this foundation very much at all, even though this is not as high coverage as the Physicians Formula one, of course. That's what I think makes this product so special. is that it does offer coverage. I would even say, to me, it seems like it has more coverage than the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I've even worn this on its own as a foundation, and it looks so nice on my skin. It doesn't give me Tin Man vibes either. Like, it's not so luminous that it looks like I just put liquid highlighter all over my face, because there is luminosity to it, but the luminous particles in here are so fine that it's really more of like a pearlescent, like a really smooth pearlescent sheen, rather than being like really sparkly or metallic at all. So today I am wearing this. Today I mixed it with my ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation. Also loving that combo. I just think this is such a beautiful product. If you're looking for something like that, I highly recommend it. One I had to quickly mention, because really the focus of this video is the products that I cannot put down, the products that I've just been using nonstop. A lot of these are things I've been using daily or just like multiple times a week, things I've been repeatedly reaching for. So of course I had to mention my Sigma color correcting duo in the shade light to medium. I've talked about this a lot recently. It has been pretty much a daily use product for me since I got it. I already have huge pan in both shades, and I've only had it for a few months. And this, I'm gonna predict I will probably finish this year. Like, this will probably be an empty in my 2023 makeup empties because that's how often I use it. Now, I am going to be searching for a cheaper alternative to this. I'm planning on picking up the Makeup Revolution Under Eye Corrector. I've heard really good things about that one. This is a pricey product and it's not a good value, so I'll just go ahead and give you that caveat. I would definitely not pay full price for this because I hit pan on it so quickly. Compared to other color correctors, this only has 0.05 ounces. And I think that is a lot smaller than most color correctors, so that's the one caveat, but I have to hand it to this product because before this, I did not believe in color corrector. I didn't use it ever. I have had other color correctors in the past, like the Becca one. I decluttered it because I never used it, but this has been the product that's completely changed my view on color correctors, because really what I attribute it to is it's really thin, it's not too sticky, and it's not too emollient to where it feels like it's sliding around on my under eyes. I feel like when under eye products are too emollient, while that can be nice if you have dry skin, I also think in an area that has fine lines and creases, if something is too emollient, it's just going to settle into my fine lines immediately. So I need something that's going to stay in one place. It's not going to look heavy, especially because I do layer concealer on top of this usually, or sometimes I layer this over concealer. It really doesn't matter. Both ways work. But since I'm putting this and a concealer on my under eyes, I really don't want my color corrector to be too heavy because then it just looks like I have way too much product on my under eyes. So that's what I love so much about this, and I've been using it every day. Every day I wear makeup, I'm wearing this product. Okay, here's a product that I'm so late to the party on, and you guys are actually the ones that influenced me to purchase this in the most recent Sephora sale. This is the Fenty bronzer. I have the shade In the Sun, which is the lightest shade. This was one of those products that was love at first use. Like, the first time I used this, I knew that this was going to be one of my favorite bronzers ever, and it's perfect. So thank you so much. When I was first looking at this on Sephora, I thought the shade might be a little too dark for me because the pictures online I think look darker than how this looks in person. This is the perfect light bronzer tone, especially for me in the summertime. My other favorite really light bronzer, as you probably already know, is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer in Fair. Let me do a little side-by-side comparison swatch of these two. So this slightly deeper one is the Fenty, and then the other one is the Charlotte Tilbury. You can see the undertone is pretty similar. I would say the Fenty one has a little bit more of like a reddish undertone, which I love. And it's a little bit deeper, which I think makes it perfect, especially for the summertime. In the summer, I do like a little bit more of a pigmented bronzer. Not too pigmented, but sometimes I want something a little bit deeper than the Charlotte Tilbury one, because that one is like basically as light as it gets while still showing up on my skin. This is the bronzer I'm wearing today. I think it's just the perfect undertone. It's not too orange, not too yellowy, but it is definitely a true bronzer tone. But really what I think is so special about this bronzer is how effortlessly it blends into my skin. Like, I don't have to even try when I'm blending this. I can just be super sloppy with it. That's really what I prefer with bronzers, because I do like to use a somewhat large bronzer brush. Today I used this one, which isn't, I mean, it's not huge, but it's a, pretty big brush. And I you know, I feel like with some bronzers, I have to be really careful to not only blend it evenly, but to even get it on my brush evenly. Like I have to make sure my brush is perfectly evenly coated, or else, you know, I might end up with like a weird patch of it on my forehead. This one, I don't have to worry about that. It really just blends in almost like a cream, even though it is a powder. So I'm totally loving this bronzer. I'm so glad I got it. Thank you guys so much to those of you who told me to get it because I'm so happy I got it. I do have some rediscovered favorites in today's video. The main one is this palette. This is the Clarity So Amazing palette. I've had this for a long time. I've recently been wearing it a ton. I did roll this into my project pan, so I'm trying to hit pan on a shade, but I have been having so much fun with this palette again. It had been a while since I'd used it, but lately I've been wanting to wear this palette in some capacity every day, even if it's just dipping into one or two shades. I've also been having a lot of fun wearing these shades not only on my eyes, but also on my cheeks and even my lips. If you saw my video testing out of my comfort zone makeup techniques, I did put some of this shimmer, I think it was this shade, on top of my lipstick. And I've also even worn this pink shade as a blush. I did that, I've done it a few times actually. I think I did it in my last everyday makeup drawer video as well, just that matte pink shade. I've also mixed that one with the peach for a blush. I also, the other day, I even tried wearing, I think it was this yellow shade also, as a highlighter. Now, of course, it was a very glittery, sparkly, blinding highlighter. I was really just kind of playing around, experimenting, but I did like a blue graphic liner and I had this shimmer not only on my eyelid, but I basically just brought that down to my cheekbone, like where I would apply highlighter, and kind of connected it to the eyeshadow. And that was so much fun, really fun for an editorial look. But because these pans are so big, it does make it easier to use these shadows in other ways than just on your eyes. Like you can totally fit a blush brush into these pans because they're huge. Now, to kind of go hand in hand with this, I've also really been getting into graphic liner. I would say that is like my biggest technique favorite right now. I myself am very new to graphic liner. I'm not great at it yet, so I've been trying to find ways to cheat and still do graphic liner without having to really be good at it. And the way that I've done it today, I would say, is the best way to start if you're just wanting to dip your toe into graphic liner. And the brush that I've been using the most, this is from e.l.f. So this is just one of those really tiny pointed liner brushes. It's not an angled liner brush, but this type of brush I feel like gives me the most control because it's basically just a really, really tiny point. So what I've been doing is really just following the inner crease of my eye. I start it like just above the inner corner and take it just about halfway through my crease. I kind of end it where my pupil is. So it's really easy because you can basically just follow the natural shape of your eye. From there, if you want to get more advanced with it, you could then try to connect this line to that wing. But I like to start with the wing first and then do this little line here. But that's been my favorite way to start out with graphic liner because really I could count on one hand probably the number of times that I've actually done graphic liner on my eyes in my lifetime. So I'm still pretty new to it, but this has been my favorite way to do it. And I'm sure from there I'll, get better at it and be able to do more like fun, different designs, but highly recommend that. And if you're wondering what I have on for my liner today, I'm just wearing the Urban Decay eyeshadow stick in the shade Fishbowl, and I just dip the brush straight in there and go from there. So for my wing, I did use more of an angled liner brush. I used the Sigma EO6. Yeah, highly recommend getting like the smallest brush you can get and practice either with an eyeshadow stick or like a cream eyeshadow or with just a regular powder eyeshadow. I find powder eyeshadows one of the easiest to start out with graphic liner because you can really slowly build it. So anyway, back to the Clarity palette because I am wearing this, just two shades from this today. I have the matte yellow in my inner corner, and then on my lid, basically just in between the wing and that other line there, I have on the shade Oh Ship from the Clarity palette, which is like a peachy golden shimmer. That is usually the shimmer that I use when I'm using this palette. So I'm really only wearing 3 eyeshadows, 2 shadows from here, and then that eyeshadow stick. That's all I have on my eyes today, and I think, it was really simple to do. Didn't take me long to do it, but it looks a lot more intricate and like I put more effort in than I actually did. And I've also done that same like liner technique with the blue shade in here and the green shade. And for those, I also used that same little e.l.f. liner brush. Now, a new palette I've been loving, actually, it is 3 palettes. These are the new Ace Beauté floral palettes. So they recently launched their floral collection. I have been loving these. Honestly, I cannot believe that these palettes are $20 a piece. I definitely would have expected them to be more than that. There are 4 palettes in the line. I only ended up keeping 3 of them. The one I didn't keep was the purple one. My favorite, I would say, from the whole line would have to be the Flora palette. It's this gorgeous yellow palette. I love the yellows and warm tones for the summer, and all of these have just incredible shimmers in them. Like, they're so foiled. Most of them are duochrome. So the Flora palette is definitely my favorite of the bunch, but I've also been loving these two, the Calla and Begonia. The Calla palette is a really nice, like, smoky neutral palette. I love the 4 shimmers in here. You can get a really like deep smoky look if you want with this, or you can do something lighter. You can definitely get a very like everyday wearable look with this palette too. I would say this is my favorite neutral palette right now. And the Begonia palette is more of like a green and purple and berry toned palette. Really fun color story. This green right here is so pretty. And I do like to mention I do have an affiliate code with Ace Beauté. It's just Sarah Rose. I believe it's 10% off, so if you want to use it, feel free. But I would say I've tried a bunch of palettes from Ace Beauté this year. I am on their PR list. These are my favorites from them that I've tried. The only thing I don't love is I wish they would have kept their usual like square pans, because I don't love the super narrow rectangular pans, but I don't find it too annoying. Like, I'm still able to fit a regular sized like shader brush in there, but love those. I've been wearing these a ton recently. All right, let me go ahead and reapply this while I talk about it. This has been a rediscovered favorite, and I think this is discontinued. So I know, big cardinal sin as a beauty YouTuber to be sharing a discontinued product, but I've had this lip gloss in my collection for quite a while, and it really hasn't been until just recently that I've really fallen in love with it. I love this shade so much. So this is the Urban Decay Plumping Shine Balm in the shade My Dude. It looks like they actually do still sell this product on their website, but not this shade. Only 2 shades are still available. This is essentially just a sheer coral gloss. It's really the only gloss color like this that I have, but I think this is such a fun color for the spring and summer. It just looks so juicy on my lips. It gives really just like a light, almost just red tint to my lips, which I think is so fun this time of year. This time of year is really when I get a lot more into sheer lip products, just a sheer wash of color, but I still like to wear color. I just don't really like to wear a full-on opaque lipstick most days. And this kind of product is perfect because it gives my lips a nice tint, but it doesn't feel heavy. It wears off really gracefully. This gloss in particular I really like too because it's not sticky at all. I never get those like strings between my lips when I open my mouth with this, like some lip glosses do. So I've been wearing this a ton, really having fun with it. I apologize that it's no longer available, but if you have something like this in your collection, I think this is a really fun type of lip gloss to wear in the spring and summer. I'm also wearing with that today the Essence Soft and Precise Lip Pencil. This is another product I've had for a long time, but only just recently really fell in love with. And I think this is such a nice and also unique lip liner formula. It feels very stiff, but it glides on really easily. So it's not going to tug at your lips, and you don't have to apply a ton of pressure to get it on there. But the nice thing about this is it almost has like a velvety, powdery feel, and it's great if you like a kind of blurry lip type of look. So I especially like this type of formula if I'm trying to overline my lips at all. I feel like it's easier to get away with overlining with lip liners like this because it has like a really soft, almost translucent color, and it looks blurred even as you apply it. I usually will go over it with my finger too, just to blur it out a little bit more. But if you like to overline your lips, or if you just like to get a little bit of a blurred, blotted lip type of look, I think this formula is so nice for that. And the shade I have is really unique too. This is the shade Happy, and it's perfect with that Urban Decay lip gloss. Really any like corally peachy lip color. This goes so nicely with it. So that's what I've been wearing a lot lately because this is just my kind of color this time of year. But it's, to me, it's a really unique color because it's like, I wouldn't say it's pink. I would almost just describe this as like a soft red color. It's not, yeah, it's not super pink. It's not super warm either. It's just kind of somewhere in between. And it goes with so many different lip colors in my collection. So I would really like to get more shades of this because I think this is such a nice and honestly underrated lip liner formula. And of course it's Essence, so it's only like $3. Yeah, really, really loving this lip liner. Now, a bullet lipstick, I know I just said I don't love bullet lipstick this time of year, but lately, especially when I'm filming or doing like a dedicated look, the lipstick I've been reaching for a lot is this Urban Decay Vice lipstick in the shade Art Walk. This is another rediscovered product. I've had it in my collection for a long time, but I've been loving this, especially with all of the pastel looks I've been wearing recently. When I'm wearing a really light pastel eye look, I don't necessarily want to wear a really light lip. So I like to wear something a little bit more vibrant on my lips, a little bit more saturated. And this is the perfect pink with so many different pastel looks that I do because it's very neutral. Like it's not like a really cool Barbie pink, but it's also not like a warm peachy corally pink either. It's just somewhere right in between. And it's also right in between in terms of depth too. Like it's, you know, it's not like a neon pink, but it's also not a nude. It's just kind of somewhere in the middle. So it actually goes with so many different types of looks, especially colorful looks, pastel looks. I like it with like yellow eyeshadow. I actually think it would look really pretty with this eye look today too, like with like a light blue pastel. I recently wore it when I did like a green graphic liner look. So this just has been coming in handy a lot recently. I think it's just perfect because it's one of those undertones that just goes with so many different looks, even though it is kind of a specific color. So I'm pretty picky when it comes to pink lipsticks, but this one, it never fails me. It always looks good. So that's been a rediscovered gem. A more new lip product favorite, I guess I have a lot of lip favorites this time around, but a newer lip product to me is the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip. This is a Juicy Lip Plump. I picked this up in the recent Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale, and I ended up getting the shade White Peach, which I hadn't heard anyone talk about this shade, and it was one of the few shades that was still left when I placed my order. A lot of the more popular shades were already out of stock. So I wasn't sure if this was going to be like a good shade to go with, but I love this shade. I don't have anything else like it, but this is such a nice nude milky peach. It is a very light peach. I don't know why I swatched it so far, but that's what that color looks like. It's a lot lighter than a lot of the other peaches and peachy nudes that I have. I would say this Lip Plump formula, I don't think it's really that different from the original Juicy Lip. I also have one of those. The only difference is that the Lip Plump does have like a minty tingle to it, but I guess it's maybe a little bit plumping. I don't know. I really don't feel like lip plumping products do that much in the way of plumping or actually changing the size of your lips, but both I would say give my lips a little bit of a plump, like cushiony look, but I really don't notice a huge difference between the two if you were wondering. But I do think it gives my lips just a nice like pillowy, cushiony feel. You do have to be careful not to apply too much of this because it can get gloopy, and this really is like a lip gloss in a stick. Once it comes in contact with the warmth of your lips, it basically melts into a gloss on your lips. So definitely a very specific formula. I do really like it though. It's just an easy product to throw in your purse and have as just your, you know, on-the-go lip product. I've really been enjoying it, and I'm glad I got it for basically a drugstore price. So speaking of lip products, I wanted to share one of our cat Tala's recent favorites. And I know you're thinking like, what, a lip product for your cats? Yes. These are lip glosses for your cat. They're just cat toys. Got these off of Chewy, and they're literally just these like catnip toys. They're kind of crinkly too. Tala's favorite shade is the grape shade, this one. This is the one that she seems to play with more, but she also likes the pink one. These came in a pack. They actually also came with this big pair of lips. The cats really haven't shown that much interest in the lips because, I mean, it's kind of an odd shape for a cat toy. And I wasn't sure if they would be into these either because, you know, some cat toys they just love and some they just don't have any interest in, but Tala specifically has been the one, she basically claimed these as her toys when we got them, and she will carry this in her mouth and bring it to me. It is the most adorable thing. She'll carry it in her mouth and meow like while she has it in her mouth. So I got these on Chewy. They were in a pack for only like $4. So I had to mention that. I was so happy that at least one of our cats really liked them and figured some of you guys who also have cats might be interested in checking those out. Really quick skincare fave I had to mention again because I've been using this every single night and it has made such a huge difference in my skin. I know I've mentioned it a few times before already, but this is the Cocoa Kind Chia Face Oil. I did not believe in face oils until I tried this, and I'm really wishing I had tried this sooner because before using this, my skin would almost just constantly be getting dry. I would be getting dry patches, they wouldn't go away for like a week, my skin would finally be in a good spot, and then boom, my skin would get dry again. That's mainly been a problem since I started using tretinoin on my skin because that can be very drying, and I wish I had thought to try an oil sooner because basically ever since I started using this, I have really not dealt with dry skin. My skin has been in a much more normal spot. Like I would say it's really neither dry nor oily right now. It's just normal, which is amazing. So nice to not have constant dry skin. I just take 2 drops of this as the last step of my nighttime skincare routine. Usually I'll do, like I'll cleanse my face, then apply tretinoin, moisturizer, and then this on top. And I wake up, my skin is so just balanced and like not irritated whatsoever. The other day my skin did get a little irritated because I think I took too hot of a shower and like the water kind of disrupted my skin barrier, but I used this later that night and my skin was back to being happy and normal the next day. So really cannot recommend this highly enough. I'm sure, like I'm curious to try other facial oils now too, but this one is amazing because it's very lightweight. It doesn't feel really thick and greasy on my skin. Cocoa Kind Chia Face Oil, highly recommend. My last favorite is more of a lifestyle favorite, and also conveniently it like perfectly matches my shirt and my eyeliner today. But this is a giant tumbler. Would you call this a tumbler or a mug? A cup? Just a big water cup. Basically, here's the story with this. I'm really bad about drinking enough water. You can ask Nathan. I'm always like complaining about random ailments and he'll be like, well, have you been drinking enough water? And I'm like, no. Because of that, I was actually this close to buying the Stanley cup, the really popular cup that's like $50, because I thought I know if I spend that amount of money, I will want to drink water out of that cup because I'll just feel like I have to use it if I spend that much. But obviously I didn't want to spend $50 on a cup, so I'm glad I didn't because I came across this one at Target and it was, I think it's more along the lines of like $25, so still not cheap, but this is a really nice, like sturdy, like thick, it has like multiple layers of whatever stainless steel, and it says it's supposed to keep your drinks cold for like 34 hours, I think. I don't think I've ever needed a drink to stay cold for that long, but it does keep my water nice and cold for a long time. It does have a straw on the top, but you can also lift up this flap here and there's an opening you can just sip out of from the top. It's dishwasher safe and it comes with a lifetime warranty. So if it broke or something went wrong with it, it has a lifetime warranty. So I think this was a very fiscally responsible decision and I've been loving it. I'm also like, really my favorite thing about this is the color. This color of blue is, I would say this is my favorite color. Like of all the colors, this is my favorite color. And the gold accents are so pretty. I think like this color with gold specifically looks so beautiful. The only thing I'll say, it is heavy. Like it is made of metal, and when you fill it all the way up, because what is this, 32 ounces? No, 40 ounces. It's a 40-ounce cup. So if you fill it all the way with whatever your drink of choice, it's going to be heavy. So that's the only thing I'll warn you of, but I don't really mind because ever since I got this, basically, I've had this for like a month now, and I've been using it every single day, and I have consistently been drinking so much more water than I used to. So, but before this, I didn't even have any sort of water bottle. I would just drink out of a glass in our apartment, which, you know, in theory should be fine, but I was not drinking enough water that way. So now I have my own little dedicated tumbler, and I love it. So if you have been experiencing FOMO over the Stanley Cup and thinking about buying it, I would recommend checking this one out. It's like half the price, and they come in, obviously, it comes in a lot of other cute colors as well. So that's my one random lifestyle favorite. So those are all of my current favorites. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I didn't have any fails this time. Normally I have at least a couple of fails, but lately I've just been trying a lot of winners and also just rediscovering some favorites that I've had for a long time. So let me know down below, what have been the products that are in your like constant everyday rotation, things that you've been reaching for nonstop? Let me know down below. But thank you guys so much for hanging out today. I hope you had fun. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I do also have a Patreon and a channel membership if you would like to support my channel further. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye.